Hello everyone and welcome back to Killershrewfan's Killer Toy Reviews. Our review today as part of Killershrewfan's 12 Days of Reviews has been a long time coming and it has a bit of a history on my channel. Today we will be taking a look at this. The Mattel Action Attack Suchomimus figure, part of their Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom lineup. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know that back in, I think it was July, I got this figure and mine came defective. It is supposed to have chomping action. Mine just had mouth opening action. It did not chomp shut, and I made a little video, you know, kind of telling people, hey, if you can, I would avoid buying these online, especially the more delicate ones. I've heard from a lot of people that these ones, their action feature is prone to breaking, and I've seen it myself in Target stores. These things pop up occasionally, and I think a couple of them that I tested out in stores were also defective, but in a different way. The head either didn't snap forward or the jaws just didn't open, one of the two. But yeah, so I just kind of made that video discouraging online shopping. I know it's what a lot of people have to do, but if you can, I would say go into stores and get these ones, this Suchomimus. I think it's a little hard to find. Whenever I go to Target, I see a ton of Stegosauruses and then maybe one Suchomimus, and then usually that sells out pretty quick. So this is certainly the hardest to find of the action attack dinosaurs. So anyway, to backtrack a bit, back in July I had a big question for myself. I'm like, I could get another one, or I could keep the one that I have, the roaring one. And I'm like, I'm not sure I want a defective product. But then a lot of people made the comment, they're like, wow, a roaring Suchomimus, that's actually really cool and unique. And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, they are so right. This is like one of a kind. I'm sure other people have this defect, but like it's probably very special to have one that just roars instead of doing the head snapping action. So yeah, I decided to hold on to this one. And then the reason I did not review it was because I wanted to do a official review wherein I discussed the actual action feature, the actual snapping Suchomimus. So the situation has been rectified. Ooh, bumped my mic, something fierce there. And we have got a second Suchomimus for you guys today. This one does feature the jaw-chomping action. We will be unboxing the roaring one to give you guys a closer look, and then we'll discuss the difference in the two action features after that. So without further ado, we're going to give you guys a closer look at the packaging, open it up, and give you guys a closer look at the model. So without further ado, let's do this! So the packaging is everything we've seen before. The Jurassic World logo, bars of the cage, bottom left corner features Owen and blue roaring triumphantly, as you can see. Mine is a little damaged, but that's okay. You get a 4+ years warning. Here you can see Action Attack Suchomimus running across the middle of the bottom there. And there you can see a diagram of the action feature that comes with this Suchomimus toy. It features a chomping action, as many of you know. The background features the forest of Isla Nublar silhouetted by the eruption of Mount Sibo in the background. They're very warm, fiery colors, and then you can see the little push button indicator showing where you activate the feature of this Suchomimus so you can try it out in stores, and I highly recommend you do that with this one, seeing as I have encountered several damaged ones that do not function properly in stores, not in a good way either. The back of the box is kind of what we've seen before as well, featuring a lovely diagram of the Suchomimus along with several other labels and indicators. Here you can see Suchomimus, massive chomping action, and you get a bigger diagram of the action feature. The top right corner reminds us to get the Jurassic World Facts app so you can scan a digital copy of your dinosaur into your phone and learn all sorts of facts about it. The bottom left corner features all the other dinosaurs that are available or were available. You've got the Triceratops, Stegosaurus, and Baryonyx. The Triceratops and Baryonyx are rorovores, and the Stegosaurus is another action attack dinosaur like our Suchomimus here. Alright, I'd say that's just about enough of the package. I think it's time we bust this Suchomimus out of the packaging. So this is just a simple little quick snip, and that is all. Wait. One more quick snip, back foot, missed it. quick snip. And that is all there is to it. Out comes our Suchomimus. And I gotta say, to finally have this one free of that cardboard prison is nice. I mean, I've had this thing in the box since July, and to finally be able to take it out, well, maybe it's nice if he'll stand for us. There we go. I think it's pretty cool to see this one free of the cardboard box finally. It really isn't my favorite figure. I know a lot of people really like this one, but this Suchomimus is definitely probably my least favorite of the Action Attack lineup. But that being said, even Mattel's lesser figures are still pretty darn good. I think the issue that I have with this one is the overall dragon-y vibe to it. It doesn't look like a Suchomimus to me. I think it looks more like a dragon without wings. And I think that's due in large part to the large fin running up the back, which was not included in any of the Jurassic World or Jurassic World concept art or Jurassic World Evolution video games. It's just something that Mattel chose to add to this model, and I think it was kind of a rough decision on their part. That being said, let's not just discredit this figure so soon. We're going to take a closer look at it, starting off with all the detailings, do an action gimmick display for you, and then we'll do some size comparisons. So without further ado, let's do this! So starting off at the head of this model, as you can see, Mattel have done quite a good job in capturing the classic Spinosaurid features with the long notched jaws, the sort of nasal crest, and the eye is very striking on this figure. It's got an orange iris, black outer layer, and then a black pupil with a high level of gloss, very eye-catching, and then the detailing here is quite tight with scales of varying sizes and shapes covering the entire head, which is absolutely awesome. Taking a look inside the mouth, you can see that Mattel have gone and sculpted the roof of the mouth, which is always a nice detail. The teeth are individually sculpted and have different shapes and sizes to them, and the tongue is sculpted nice and deeply in there, and it's all got a nice wet look to give it a lifelike feeling. Moving down the body, you can see more of the awesome detailing that Mattel have crammed into this figure, along with wrinkles of skin, veins, tendons, pulling, and bulging. Once you get to the midsection, you can see all of the scaling details in the sort of shoulder blade region as well, with the wrinkles and folds of skin around the shoulder. And I really do love all the scaling details going on in this thing. Here behind the arm, you can see an indication of the rib cage, and the back of the thigh, you can see some more skin bunching up around the thigh region there. And then the hips are quite prominent as well. And as you can see, there's all of this beautiful scale detailing going on across the entire thing. The scales are very unique to this model. I don't think I can think of another Mattel figure that has scales like this, which is absolutely awesome. Really gives this Suchomimus a very unique feeling. And as you can see, the scaling detail continues all the way down to the tip of the tail. If we move back up the opposite side, it's really the same story in terms of the detail, with the sort of different styled scales, wrinkles, folds of skin around the thigh, hip region, very prominent, the rib cage pressing up against the midsection, some lovely folds and bags of skin around the gut. The shoulder blade is very pronounced as well. And then we come back to the neck, which features all of those wrinkles and folds and scales, and then we come back up to the very Spinosaurid-like head of this Suchomimus, which is, like I was saying, very well sculpted and detailed, and just, the detail on this Suchomimus is tight. That's all there is to it. It is a very well detailed figure. If we move along the underbelly, you can see the musculature sculpted into the lower jaw, and the underbelly features even different styled scales. They're more rectangular on the underbelly, and here you can see the sort of diaphragm region is very well sculpted with wrinkles surrounding the gut. The back right foot features the Jurassic World emblem, and then the back left foot features the QR code, so anyone who wants to scan this dinosaur into their phone, here is your chance. Take a good long look, and then just go for it. Taking a look at the feet here, they feature some lovely plate scaling across the toes. The toe claws are painted a nice sleek black color, and if we move up the length of the legs there, You can see all of the lovely musculature that has been sculpted into this Suchomimus. The calf looks incredibly powerful, and the joint, the knee joint, is very well framed by the bulging musculature in the thigh region. And then you can see in the back right leg, the copyright just peeking out there. And then we come back up to the lovely midsection. If we take a look at the hand claws here, as you can see, they too feature plate scaling. Unfortunately, they are not painted, and they do feel just a little on the small side. I don't know if that's just me, but I look at these and I feel like they're just a little bit small. The musculature in the forearms and bicep is quite good, though, and definitely stands out. But an interesting feature, they are a very soft plastic, almost closer to a rubber-like feeling. As you can see, they're easy to bend and sway. So now for the overall issue that I have with this Suchomimus is, of course, the sail that they went and sculpted onto this model. Like I said, it's not something that is included in any of the Jurassic World concept art or video games. It is just something that Mattel went and added to this dinosaur, which is not sitting well with me. It really gives this thing sort of a, I don't even know how else to say it, like an Aquaman kind of vibe. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it doesn't look like a dinosaur. It looks like a mythological creature, which is really doing the rest of this model a disservice. I mean, the other sculptural details are so tight and well done, and then that sort of tacked on sail really takes away from the overall feel of this model. That could be just me. I'm sure this thing has its fans out there. The sail has its fans, but for me, it just feels a little bit like a tacked-on element that really compromises the rest of the look of the model. In terms of its posability, it is in a fairly neutral pose to begin with, but it does feature all of the usual articulation points that the other dinosaurs from Mattel have had in the past, including the tail, the legs, and the arms here. And then, of course, the neck can bob forward with the action feature, but the arms can go out and around and down and up. They're on a ball and socket. They can go 360, just like we can do with ours. And then you can pose them up in this classic sort of rawr pose, which I think is kind of funny. The legs kind of have their lock-in points, but they can go forward. They can't really go 360. I mean, they can, I just don't like to do that. Anyway, that leg can. Let me see about this one. This one's kind of hindered, so I'm not going to force it. It can go pretty far back, though, and then they have their snap-in points, their usual snap-in points, so you can kind of snap them down and give it a more parallel pose. I'm going to have to hold him here. I'm not sure how well this will stay balanced on your shelf over time, since this thing has such a short tail. It feels definitely front-heavy. But yeah, you can get this sort of active prowling pose out of it. And then, you know, if you were to snap the legs back into an upright position, you kind of get this rearing back pose, which I think works just as well as the parallel pose. This one definitely feels like it's trying to make itself look bigger, you know? Now for the action feature on this Suchomimus. As you can see, I brought back in the boxed version because that is the one with the actual feature that comes with most of the boxed ones, you know, if you don't get one that is broken like mine. So like the Carnotaurus before it, this Suchomimus has a chomping action, as you can see down in the bottom corner there. And it is triggered by a button, which is halfway down the back, located as part of the sail, and all you gotta do is push that. You get a nice forward lunge, and the creature chomps its jaws shut. Now, as many of you know, I was on the fence about whether or not I want... Ooh, bumped my light. Of course I did. About whether or not I wanted to return this version and get one that actually works. And honestly, I'm glad I held on to the Roaring version, first and foremost because it's unique. And second of all, I'm not a huge fan of the motion of this chomping Suchomimus. I'm not a huge fan of that huge, head bobbing motion. And if it was just a head bob, I'd feel fine with it, but the fact that it's just so shaky really is unappealing to my eye. The smoothness of the roar is much more appealing to me. And just the fact that they went and did a chomping action for this Suchomimus anyway, I kind of wish they had not gone in that direction. First and foremost, because the chomping action on the Carnotaurus is awesome. It's pitch perfect. And if you're going to accuse me of being biased, hold on a second. So I went and got my Carnotaurus, my new in-box Carnotaurus off the shelf for you guys, and we're going to do a little side-by-side comparison for you. First off, we've got the Carnotaurus. Nice, fluid, solid movement. Next, we got the Suchomimus. Bouncy, rickety, shaky movement. So yeah, I think the Carnotaurus did this action feature much better than the Suchomimus counterpart, and I think a way to kind of separate these two, make them more unique, would have been giving the Suchomimus a different attack feature. I really would have liked to see something with the claws, like a slashing feature or something like that, because, you know, Suchomimus, it's known for its large claws. So I think that would have been a cool action feature to see on this toy. Instead, we got the chomping feature, which I'm not a fan of, but hey, the roaring version is not such a bad addition to the collection. But like I said, unless you're lucky enough to find one like this, this is what you get. And honestly, I'm just not a huge fan of it, and there's no sense in beating a dead horse. Now for the paint scheme. The paint scheme is fairly close to what we have seen in the Jurassic World concept art and Jurassic World Evolution with the blues and the yellow stripings. However, that being said, it is a much more vibrant color of blue and a much more vibrant color of yellow. The patterning is there, but the overall color scheme, like the tones that they chose to go with, is definitely off in this one. It feels just a little too vibrant to me. I would have liked to see more muted colors. And I get that it's a toy for kids. They want bright colors. They want it to look extravagant, all that stuff. But Mattel has done pretty well with kind of walking that line between getting an accurate movie representation or concept art representation, but with this Suchomimus, I feel like they just kind of went a little off course with it and gave it a little too vibrant of a color scheme. I will say that I love this area of coloration on the legs where the darker blue transitions up into the lighter blue. That is a nice, smooth area of paint, and I will say I've been lucky enough to find some very good versions of this. Some of them have a very harsh transition. In terms of its overall size, we're going to bring in our trusty dusty tape measure and get a measurement for you. It is very similar in size to the other action attack dinosaurs, but for an official measurement, you're looking at right around from the tip of the tail to the front of the snout. Here you're looking at right around 15 inches, which is about 38 centimeters. And then from the base all the way to the highest point, if you were to rear him back into his sort of rearing pose as high as you can get him, you're looking at right around 9 inches, which is about 23 centimeters, it looks like. So, yeah, a sizable figure. For size comparison, we're going to go ahead and bring in the Roarivore Baryonyx, the other Spinosaurid that we have reviewed on the channel. Link will be down in the description below. And these two size up really well together in terms of the overall paleo accuracy. Suchomimus was a little bigger than Baryonyx, and here we have a smaller Baryonyx and a larger Suchomimus. And yeah, I think that's really cool. I'm not sure the official sizes of the Suchomimus of Jurassic World, but I'm sure that this is also in scale. So these two look really cool with each other. If you want a Spinosaurid collection for Jurassic World, then yes, I think these two definitely work off of each other. And then next up, we're going to bring in our reigning champion for favorite Jurassic World toy yet. It is, of course, Carnage the Carnotaurus. And as you can see, these two are quite similar in their overall sizing. Carnage might stand just a little bit taller than the Suchomimus, but they are pretty equal in length, given the Suchomimus' long snout. Well, there you have it, everyone. That is going to do it for our look at the new for 2018 Action Attack Suchomimus by Mattel. Obviously, this is not my favorite figure that they have done. It is far and away my least favorite of the Action Attack figures. But, I mean, that's not to say that Mattel didn't try. I mean, the detailing here is tight. The paint scheme is pretty near the mark. It's just the fact that they gave it that wonky sail, and then the head is so big in comparison to the tail. The tail just feels way too short on this model. That's definitely crippling it for me. If you were to ask me if I prefer this one to the new version that's coming out very soon and has already been seen in some stores, I would say I like the new version better because it is better proportioned. The paint scheme's a little off, but it's better proportioned. As always, I would love to hear what you guys think of this model. Do you own it yet? Are you planning on picking it up? Do you prefer this one or their 2019 version? Which is your favorite action attack dinosaur from Mattel? Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments section below. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into our review today. If you enjoyed it, don't be afraid to let us know by hitting that like button. And don't forget to subscribe on the way out. We got lots more reviews coming your way shortly. Thanks again for tuning in, and that's going to do it for us today. Killershrewfan out.